Welcome to the Hastings Shadmehry Show with your hosts, Andee Hastings and Mally Shadmehry. Dive into the heart of family law as Andee and Mally bring clarity to legal challenges, celebrate client victories, and share the wisdom of their combined expertise. Get ready for a journey into empowerment and advocacy right here where your story matters.
Hello, and welcome to the Hastings Shadmehry Show, where we delve into the heart of family law and the stories that shape our lives. I'm Mally Shadmehry, and joining me is the ever insightful, gorgeous, and just immaculate Andee Hastings. How are you, Andee?
I'm doing great, Mally.
Can you tell she's my favorite person? She is. It's such a pleasure to get to do business with your best friend.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I am rejuvenated, ready to walk into this new year and just make moves. Let's go. What about you, Andee? Warrior or diplomat? I think we all know what I am today.
Oh, I know what you are today. I think we're the same today. I think we're both in warrior mode, which is, apparently our natural state of being.
Natural habitat. So we have some juicy things to talk to y'all about today. Some things that come up a lot in our cases, and they're just sort of quote unquote fun to talk about. The first question I've got for you, Andrea, is
Oh no, now I'm in trouble.
Here we go. I'm getting a divorce. Can I start dating other people while this divorce is pending, Andee?
The answer is technically yes. Depending on the facts of your case, it may or may not be a very good idea. And if you do date somebody, you need to be very discreet about it and do not spend marital funds on a person outside your marriage until you're divorced. That's my quick answer. What about you?
I've got a multifaceted answer because I talk to my clients a lot about this. Yes. So as Andee said, yes, you can date. Like there's not anything in the law that says you can't. But it inevitably, I would say 100% of the time, is going to increase the costs in your divorce case because it is going to cause the other side's usually going to have an idea. They're going to want to know about it. There's emotion involved in that. And it's going to require a little more back and forth between lawyers to talk about the issue when we're talking about settlement and what have you. So inevitably, when you're going to date during a divorce, just expect for a little more billing to happen on the part of your lawyer to talk about those issues. It's going to come up. So from a cost standpoint, dating is not advised. Then we look at it from the standpoint of if you have children. That is where you're mostly going to be impacted. If you have a hotly contested custody case and you are found to be dating while the divorce is pending, you're going to be seen as somebody that's just ready to date. You're focused on, that's your priority, not your children, and it's not a good look. You definitely don't want to introduce the children to who you're dating. Andee, can you hit on that for us?
That's literally what I was just about to say. It's an absolute no-no during a divorce case to introduce your children to the person you're dating. If you're in a contested custody case, there's a guardian involved. They're going to see that as you putting your needs above your children's. Mm-hmm. You're in, let's be real, basically a rebound situation. It's not to say that relationship may not go forward, but if it doesn't and you're exposing your children to multiple people, that is not a good look in a contested custody case. So you just have to be really careful with that. And children understand and discern a lot more than you think they do. So trying to trick them into thinking you're not dating the person who is going with you all on vacation, it's not going to work. It just isn't. And you are going to increase your costs because that creates an emotional element to the case that the other side is going to be upset about, even if they're dating other people. It's just a fact.
Yes, and so sort of from the life coach standpoint that a divorce attorney can offer, and we do a lot of that. A lot of times I end up being much more of a life coach than an attorney, which is when I start telling my clients, you need to be in some therapy. You don't want to spend money on your divorce attorney to do the therapy, although we will overlap with that, and a good divorce attorney is going to want to do that and understand what's going on in your heart so that we can help put a Band-Aid on for you and help you start healing and make smart business decisions in the divorce. But practical advice. Regardless of how your divorce is going down, how over it you think you really are, you are going through a huge life transition. And you need to find yourself. You need to give yourself time to mourn. And regardless, I've seen hundreds, thousands probably of people, I know Andee has, going through this. And no matter how over it you think you are, you still need time. You need time to walk into a new chapter and find yourself again. You're ridding yourself of probably some toxicity, some abuse, all kinds of things. And if you're going to go on and be a good partner to someone else, you've got to recalibrate. Find yourself. Give yourself time, one step at a time. It is a red flag to me when someone has jumped right into a new relationship while the divorce is still pending. You're not giving yourself typically time to heal and come to the table being a better partner. And what that's going to foster in you, if you jump from relationship to relationship without giving yourself time to heal and really put the work in for self-growth, you're going to end up perpetuating the same problems you probably had in your marriage. You're going to end up in the same cycle. So think about that. Think long and hard about that. It is concerning to me when I see it. So that, and I think judges can see that when you go to trial. And that's kind of what we're getting at, is you are going to be helping the other side make the argument, especially when it comes to custody, that I don't care about my self-growth and development, and I'm just more fixated on putting a Band-Aid on and getting to someone else quickly because my heart's broken. And I get that.
It's a normal human reaction. It's just ill-advised while you're going through a divorce.
Yes. And in a divorce, you have to be very careful of who you surround yourself with. I mean, any time in your life, you are who you surround yourself with. But divorce in particular, this is when you have to start getting picky about who you're going to let into this new chapter in your life that you're creating. And it starts with having the right lawyer that's going to get it done right, the right legal team around you, the right therapist around you. You're going to have shifts in your friend group. People might pick sides. We see more often than not that people trust friends and family with information about the divorce, and that information gets leaked, and it just creates a mess, drama. So be careful who you're inviting in during this time. It's a sensitive time, and, I can't tell you how many times someone has brought a new boyfriend or girlfriend into the picture while we're doing the divorce or the custody case, whatever it is, and that boyfriend or girlfriend comes in and overly complicates the case. They want to be the savior. They're getting overly involved. Can you talk to us about that, Andee? So annoying.
Yes, we have, obviously, I can give you an example of an extreme case that you know about, but we recently had to have an emergency hearing in a case. I know you know which one I'm talking about, where mom's new boyfriend absolutely inserted himself in the kids' lives, helped her move the kids to a new school, tried to put himself down as a contact at the school, basically lock our client, the dad, out. There are a lot more specific facts in that case, but short answer on that is that we got full custody of those children at an emergency hearing. So you really do, and that is an extreme example of what people can do, but you do really have to be careful, because for all the reasons we've discussed, if you have a significant other who's overly involved in your divorce case, people will see that. Opposing counsel will pick up on that. The judge will pick up on that. They know these things, and they may have a different objective in your life than you have at that moment in time. And so it's very important, I agree with Mally 100%, to say, pure with regards to the divorce case, and, clear in your own intentions. And that's really hard to do if you've got folks in your ear, telling you what to do and how to do it. And to that end, I would say one thing we see a lot in divorce cases, not just with significant others, is that a lot of people, unfortunately, in this day and age have gone through a divorce. So they all have their own experiences inside a divorce case, whether it be with their finances, their children, parenting, and those sorts of things. And something that friends like to do with clients while a case is pending is tell them why their case, our client's case, should go like theirs did if they got some particularly specific result. And while we support our clients having friends surrounding them, you absolutely need a support network. You have to be really careful because everybody's experience is different. It depends on the facts of the case. It depends on the judge. It depends on the jurisdiction. And so, but friends can get in clients' heads with the best of intentions and give them the wrong ideas on how to proceed through their case. So that's another thing where I say just be really careful with who you surround yourself with and how much you involve, third parties in your divorce and information with regard to your divorce. And also know that potentially any of them could be called as witnesses in your case.
One thing I really don't want to see is any of my clients out there on a dating app during the divorce. It's just you're just giving the other side fuel to the fire. And those are going to get screenshotted right away, and that's exhibit P1 for trial, right? You just don't want that. So keep that in mind. If you're going to date, there are healthy ways to do it. And we have plenty of clients that date during the divorce or during a custody case. I get it. And I talk to my clients about that, and I say, let's just be very discreet, classy. A private investigator could be following you. I always say, I don't want to see footage of you stumbling out of a bar drunk with another girl or guy every other night. Conduct yourself as though a private investigator is following you. If you want the best results in your case, the most streamlined case, and the most cost-efficient case, that's how you need to conduct yourself. Okay? You can date, but keep it classy. That's it. Limited. Keep it under wraps. You're not advertising it. That's the best approach. And Andee, one more thing. You brought up, don't spend marital money on this extramarital lifestyle. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So if you're dating somebody and it's after your separation from your spouse, technically that's considered post-separation conduct. It's not really admissible for any real purpose in court.
It's not adultery.
Correct.
Under the law, but it can impact you.
Correct. The way you make all of that information admissible is if you take money out of the marital estate and you spend it on that relationship. So even though you might have started dating that person after you were separated, if it's costing the marriage money, you're going to have created an admissibility issue with that information that wouldn't necessarily otherwise be there. So hot tip, don't pay to take your spouse to your significant other, so sorry, that was a Freudian slip, to the Bahamas and buy them a plane ticket because, by the way, their name goes on the credit card statement with the plane ticket. And I cannot tell you how many times we found in discovery the 80 places that somebody has taken their significant other and it costs them marriage money. Yep. And if I'm on the other side of that and if you're on the other side of that, we're going after that. Right. We want that paid back to the marriage and maybe some other punishment as a result. Or we can create an argument that they've done it before. It just opens up a Pandora's box of issues that you do not want to expose yourself to.
Oh, and we've seen it all, like going to Louis Vuitton, spending $3,000 on a little handbag for the new lady in your life. I get it, but it's not going to look good. And it will impact the parenting plan as well for all the reasons we've already discussed. So that's sort of our little dating piece. All right, juicy topic number 2. Talk to us, Andee, about the to-dos and not to-dos about social media posts during your divorce. Okay.
So always remember your audience. And you may be in the process of divorcing someone who has been the most difficult person in your life. And you want to direct information to them by virtue of your social media. Please don't do that. Don't do it to yourself. As your lawyers, we can deal with it, but it's going to make it more costly and it's going to make everything more complicated. Your soon-to-be ex-spouse is not your audience. You don't need to go post pictures of all the fun you're having, all the money that you're spending. We have one right now, and this person, he cannot help himself. He claims he makes no money, but then he talks in his social media about how he makes 7 figures. Best believe that when he comes to court insisting that he makes $65,000 a year, we're going to pull his 18 posts about how all this money that he makes, or how to cheat taxes, or, how people need to conduct themselves in custody cases, which what he says is the exact opposite of what he's doing. So my point in that is you are creating evidence for the other side. And it will come up in court. And don't think that there's nobody in your friends list who won't screenshot something, because you've got people there who may or may not seem like they are also communicating with your soon-to-be ex-spouse. They will take pictures. They will give it to the other side. Plan on that, and plan not to do anything to give them the ability to do that. And
agree with all of that, of course. Additionally, even if you think that you're on private, like Andee said, there could be infiltrators that are spying and snooping, and people, there are busybodies everywhere. Everybody wants to be involved in your drama. So just keep that be aware of that. But additionally, even if you're on private, you say you trust, everybody that's following you, whatever, your social media is discoverable. If we do discovery in a case, we can fight for that and obtain all your messages or relevant messages. There's all kinds of stuff we could find, and all of your posts. So what it's going to do, I had a judge just yesterday, it was either Monday or yesterday, I can't remember, in trial, talking about how, there's a constitutional right to the freedom of speech. And that's correct. You can post, but it is going to increase the costs in your case. We're going to show up in court with 1 million Facebook posts. The judges, usually they're very frustrated by having to read through social media posts. I can't tell you how much they roll their eyes, because one of the biggest things to think about when you're going into a trial is that our judges in Georgia, we have fabulous judges, okay? But they are desensitized. They see the worst of the worst. They see abuse. They see cheating. They see hiding money.
They see murder cases.
Yeah. Okay. So your Facebook posts that whatever, or somebody was mean to you and that hurt your feelings and it was 3 years ago, but this is proof that, my marriage was crap. Okay. These judges don't want to see it. They're not going to spend much time on it. But the more that's posted, especially during the pendency of a case when emotions are high, and this can especially impact the custody, parenting time, it's going to frustrate your judge usually, but it's also going to increase your costs, and it just creates more room for argument. And if you want that in your divorce, go for it. You really don't want that. You're going to be $100,000 into a divorce case the more you're posting and having to have someone defend that or whatever. So just keep those things in mind. You are, whether you want to be or not, you're on display. You're under a microscope when you're going through a divorce. And the best thing you can do is just lay low. Be quiet. Focus on you. Get yourself together. Stop putting stuff out there. You're going through a transition. Pain yields beauty. And the only way to get to that beautiful point is to be quiet, put the work in. Don't put on a show for other people to watch right now. That is not the time to be doing it.
And I would say that just because you have the right to do something does not make it a good idea. Mm-hmm. And be clear on the difference between those two things. Yes, totally. You have a right to say whatever you want to say, but is it a good idea? Probably not. Sorry, Mally, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good. Agreed. So, topic number 3. Andee, if I have been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, I've been raising kids, and now I'm going through a divorce. Should I go try to get a job during the divorce or not?
So in this day and age, people are expected to contribute to their own support. And we do get that question a lot. I'm not going to get a job right now. I'm going to wait until after the divorce case because I want to maximize the amount of support that I'm going to get, whether it's child support or alimony, both. And what we tell people is you need to start preparing now for your future. And waiting until after the divorce case for some strategic reason that you have created in your mind about getting a divorce is not a good idea. Judges are going to look at a situation. They're going to want to know what you're capable of earning. And if you don't give them an answer, they're going to come up with one that may not be accurate. It may be you worked 10 years ago and you did pharmaceutical sales, but now you have 3 kids. But your spouse is going to say, well, they refused to get a job, and so we need to impute them at the income they last earned because they're capable of doing that. Do we have arguments we can make against that? We do. But take control of the situation. If you need updated training, if you need to take classes, let's start doing that. Let's start looking at what you could reasonably earn. A, because you're taking your power back and you're taking control over your life and your situation. And B, because it really isn't going to help you to wait to get hired or to obtain employment until sometime after the divorce case.
Yeah, the guidance, I get asked that a lot, and it usually happens at the consultation level when I'm first strategizing with a new client. And what I tell people is the law, at least in Georgia, is, I would say, more tilted towards the breadwinner when it comes to alimony. We're not just giving it out. It's not as easy as people want to believe to get alimony. Conduct is not really a factor in considering alimony. In determining alimony. So somebody could have been terrible and cheated on you and all of this, and the judge is not going to punish them with alimony. That's not how the law is drafted. Alimony is based on different factors, which we would cover a different day. But what I tell my clients is that these judges want to see people that are productive members of society, somebody that's coming in there with good morals, and they just want to move forward, right? You're going to look better with that. That's number one. So a judge is already going to have more respect for you if you come into that courtroom and say, yep, I knew my divorce was pending 10 months ago. We filed, and I decided to start to put my life together and make changes to put my financial picture together on what life's going to look like after the divorce. Nobody's leaving a divorce with more money. You're splitting up money between 2 people. And the income that supported the family is not just going to be split between you 2 forever. It's very rare we'd ever do permanent alimony. It is a possibility in Georgia, but very rare. And your lifestyle is going to change. And it will make your divorce more cost efficient also if I can have a known variable. If I know, like Andee said, the judge is going, if you're not working, when you try to establish child support and alimony in a divorce case, the judge is going to consider what you're capable of earning. Meaning the court can impute you, as Andee was saying, to an income the court finds you're capable of earning. And your spouse is going to come in and, exactly like Andee said, and say, well, she was a realtor 10 years ago and she was making $200 a year. So, Your Honor, she is still capable of earning that. So we need to establish alimony and child support based on what she is capable of earning. And that's not going to happen. You're not going to go right out of the gates making $200,000 again. You need time to start to build up a client base, get your training back together, or whatever it is. Life is going to be different. And so to avoid, like Andee was saying, the opportunity for someone to come in and impute you higher, you need to already establish very early on in the case, well, I went and got this job, this is what I'm capable of doing. Then I'm able to save a lot of time and money in your case by saying, this is what she's doing, this is what she's capable of doing, and obviously here's why she's doing it now. And it gives us a variable that makes settlement much more likely because you're already working, which means we're going to see what your income stream is on your own, and it will help us better establish and negotiate what alimony really should be to supplement the income you're bringing in. And then bring more credibility to the court if you're ever in trial. Also make the judge's job easier. They don't need to do all this estimating of what you're capable of earning because you're already earning something. It's a streamlined approach. It's going to give you more security. And you don't do shady things like purposefully not work during a divorce case. That's just not something I'm going to, unless somebody's got serious health issues, children with really special needs, and sometimes there really are there is a financial situation in a case where it's warranted that one party really can't work. And I would really flesh that out. But by default, I'm never going to say, yeah, don't work. It'll get you more alimony if you don't go work. But we get asked it a lot. So.
It's a valid question. It's just, there's a lot of misinformation floating around, I feel. And so definitely we're going to encourage you to contribute to your own support. And one thing I want to say, we've touched on it some, is the thing that you walk into the courtroom with, if this ends up going to court, that you need to never compromise, and you hopefully will pick a lawyer that has it as well, is your credibility. And so in those moments where there is a he said, she said, And you need that credibility with the court in order to really assert your position and your point, and we need it to assert that on your behalf. You want to walk in there with credibility. So walking in and saying, Your Honor, yes, he told me throughout our marriage I was just dumb as a rock, and now apparently he wants to talk about how brilliant I am and I can go out and earn $100,000 a year tomorrow. That's not realistic, but here is what I'm doing, and I'm trying, and I'm taking these classes, and this is what I need in order to move to this next step. You're bolstering your own credibility with the court, and that is an intangible factor in every case that cannot be discounted, in my view.
Agreed. Okay. So here's our last little juicy topic for the day. OnlyFans. How does that impact our cases?
Oh, boy. So it depends. It's so we'll give an example. We had a case. The parties were divorced, and they shared custody of a child. And our client, in order to go earn additional money, had started an OnlyFans account. And she had about 6 clients, 5 of which were the opposing party and his family members.
Unbeknownst to her.
Unbeknownst to her.
Fake.
Obviously.
Accounts.
So that's also gross, and that's a different issue.
Well, the judge didn't like it either.
He didn't. And this was what I would say is a traditionally very conservative jurisdiction. So I think the other side thought they really had a tiger by the tail.
Because what they were trying to do was say, this woman needs a psychological evaluation. She needs supervised parenting time with this child, and trying to take away her rights.
Exactly. And the judge absolutely disagreed. Thankfully, because that was the right decision in that case. However, you never know. You might get a judge that feels very strongly about that in the opposite direction, and people are using a lot of social media opportunities right now to earn additional income, but try to find one that does not involve OnlyFans, because while we won that situation, it creates an argument for the other side. And when you give the other side arguments to make, you're also increasing the cost for yourself on defending against those arguments and going to court to do it. Because usually when people are making those kinds of arguments, they're not in the mood to settle anything at any point in the process.
Okay. I'm a little worried about what's going to come out of my mouth because I know it could be controversial.
Yes.
I believe people should be able to express themselves and make money however they want. And I believe you can be a sex worker, you can be a stripper, you can be an OnlyFans worker and be a great parent. And
Agree.
You should be able to do that. It doesn't matter what my beliefs are, if I would do that or whatever. It is your life, and you can make great money doing that, and you can still be a great parent. So, just know that here's my advice. My preference, if you want to have a streamlined case, better protect your children and not be, $50,000 in litigation fees for us to go fight this kind of stuff. If you've already got a career that's been established and you had a kid with somebody and they knew you were doing that kind of work, I think that's a different situation. I think, that's different. Obviously, don't expose your child in any way to it. In the case that Andy's referencing, the other side was saying stuff like, see, she's in her mirror doing a little cute, whatever it was, sexy video, and there's a child's toothbrush in this video. And then sexual predators could see that child's toothbrush and come after, okay. Cool argument, very cool. The judge was like, okay, whatever. But but those are the sort of things I'm in court fighting about and spending thousands and thousands of dollars to argue about a child's toothbrush in an OnlyFans video. Okay, and that's different than if you'd already established a career and you had a child with this person. As long as you're not exposing to the child in any way, that's a little bit different. And I would really defend that. If you're going to have a breakup, okay, with somebody, whether that's a divorce or a legitimation, y'all were never married, but you have a kid together, whatever. And then you go start the career later. That's what happened in this case. This girl, started her account after they'd already separated, and it caused him to initiate litigation later, trying to modify a parenting plan that was already in place. And you can file a modification action in Georgia to try to change your parenting plan if there's been a change in circumstances, substantial change in circumstances, following the date of the entry of the last order. And they were trying to say, well, since the last parenting plan was created, she went and did OnlyFans. So just keep that in mind. It's a life change. This kind of goes to the sort of theme we've been talking about. Be careful of who you surround yourself with. If you're going to create an account like that, I'm one of those that's like, look, make a living for yourself. Express yourself. If that's your calling, go for it. But be ready and be smart about it. Keep children's things out of, nobody on OnlyFans needs to know that you have a kid. You need to seriously start thinking about your personal social media. If you've got an Instagram or a Facebook, whatever, and you've got an OnlyFans, it's probably best to not feature your child on any social media. Keep the child away from any online representation of yourself now that you're creating an online persona on OnlyFans, okay? So it's probably best, honestly, to talk to an attorney if you're going to go into an endeavor like that. I have clients, I call them my coaching clients, that they don't have cases actually pending, no litigation pending, but they have life circumstances. It might not be OnlyFans. Who knows what it is. Sometimes they just want help every now and then to communicate better with an ex because the ex is still being abusive even though there's not a case pending. So it would be wise if you're going to go into an endeavor like that and start an OnlyFans, for example, talk to a family law attorney first. Let me help you structure what the game plan should be to protect you and your kid for later, or else you could end up like my client that spent I don't know how much for a 4 or 5 day trial. We did win $25,000 in attorney's fees on that. That's another topic for another day. But be careful. We're here to protect you, and we don't want to see you get stuck in litigation that didn't have to happen.
Exactly. But if you do find yourself in litigation, obviously we're going to be there, right there with you.
Clean up the mess. That's why
fighting
you got
by
it.
your side. Exactly.
Okay, so this concludes our fun little juicy conversation for the day. And with that, we hope you have a great day, a great new year. Let's get 2024. We'll be here for you if you need us.
Take care.